90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Let's bring in our ABC News team to break this down for us. We have Whit Johnson live at the New York Stock Exchange, ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce on the North Lawn, ABC News Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis is here with me on the set, and ABC News Senior White House Correspondent Selena Wang is in our D.C. bureau. Whit, let's start with you here. What's the mood been like at the Stock Exchange today? Did it fluctuate with the market swings?
Well, absolutely. We just heard the closing bell here. We heard the celebrations, and so it's very excited, but mostly a sigh of relief that we're experiencing here. Many of the traders and analysts we've been talking to have called this a bit of a relief rally today, but it is significant when you consider where we were less than 24 hours ago. I mean, the S&P was close to $6 trillion in losses over the course of 4 days, and now it's experienced its biggest single-day rally in 5 years. So things have turned around. We're still taking a look at some of the losses that may have been gained back from this rally today. But basically, investors and traders here got what they wanted to hear from the administration. They had been telling me for days that they were hoping that the White House would back off this aggressive policy on tariffs and start announcing some deals or announcing a pause or some time to negotiate. And that's exactly what happened. This 90-day pause is something that we have been hearing from executives and others in the finance world for days, urging the president to do this. And now he did it, and that's why you're seeing this rally here. But make no mistake, there is still some uncertainty about the end game here. This is a 90-day pause just on those reciprocal tariffs. We still have the 10% baseline tariffs. We're still talking about big tariffs on cars and car parts. And then, of course, China is the massive X factor here. You know, we slapped them with 104% tariffs. Now it's up to 125. They hit the United States with those reciprocal tariffs because of the retaliation there. So there's still a lot of questions about what's going to happen next. But many believe that at least this period of like ratcheting up, the escalation of the trade war perhaps has calmed down a little bit. And that will give some people a sigh of relief and keep investors at bay and still willing to invest in the days to come. But make no mistake, again, they are expecting more volatility as all of this plays out. Eva?
Mary, let's talk about the politics here. The president announcing that pause on some of the tariffs while raising those on China. What else is the president saying about this?
Well, the president did just finally answer questions from the pool here at the White House a short while ago, and he said he made this decision because, in his words, people were getting a little bit yippy. He said people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting a little bit yippy and a little bit afraid. And this, isn't just, I think, a surprise pause from the president. It's a big reversal. I mean, just 2 days ago, I pressed him in the Oval Office about whether he would consider this kind of a pause to allow time for negotiations, and he said that wasn't something they were considering. Now he just told reporters that he believes you have to be flexible. You have to have a little bit of flexibility, and that he is now doing it. And while he didn't explicitly say that the markets were a factor here, he did make it very clear that he has been keeping a close eye on all of the volatility on Wall Street. He said things were looking pretty glum over the last several days, and that he saw that people were getting a little bit queasy. That actually contradicts a bit what we heard earlier from his Treasury Secretary here at the White House, who was adamant that this wasn't because of the markets, but it was because now you have over 75 countries who have called the White House eager to negotiate and strike a deal. Because while the president is hitting the brakes, he is adamant that this still is a policy and an agenda that he backs firmly. And he feels that this is something that has to be done because, in his words, the global trade system has been wildly unfair to the U.S. The president just saying that it takes guts to do what he's doing and urging everyone, in his words, to be cool, Eva.
Rebecca, the world is watching because this is affecting markets all around the world. We saw a little bit of relief, let's call it that, here for investors, but this is just a pause. What is this going to look like going forward?
Certainly. And Eva, that small amount of relief has translated to a very big surge in the markets for today. The closing numbers are now in: the Dow up almost 3,000 points, 7.9%. The S&P 500, that's what's reflected in most 401ks, most retirement savings accounts, up more than 9.5%. And the NASDAQ up 12.1%. That is the biggest gain since 2001, and that's back when the tech bubble burst and then people started believing in tech again. So it is a gigantic increase for the market today on this news of a pause, but that's ultimately what it is. It is a pause, and it effectively isolates China in this trade dispute while the U.S. works through in these 90 days these negotiations that we've now heard from the Treasury Secretary that they're working on with countries which he specifically named, like Japan, South Korea, India, Vietnam. Again, that really isolates China, but China still is the big white elephant in the room because China brings huge amounts of things to us here in the United States. Last year, they exported about $440 billion worth of goods to us here in the United States. That's everything from car parts to toys to clothes, shoes, some pharmaceuticals, furniture. It runs the gamut. Electronics, of course, it runs the gamut there. And these items still have the tariffs on them. And you mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, there's now the retaliation that's coming from China and that gigantic, more than 100% tariff that the United States has imposed on China on anything that's coming to our shores. Companies pay that price when the items come through customs. U.S. companies pay that price to take control of whatever the items are at customs. And then they likely pass it off to consumers. So consumers are still looking at the potential for higher prices because of the amount of items that come from China, and specifically higher prices on items coming from China.
Let's talk about what's going on with China. Selena Wang, let's bring you in. China has vowed to fight to the end in this trade war. How do we expect they're going to respond here?
Well, the reality here, Eva, is that the U.S. and China are engaged in a very risky game of chicken to see who essentially blinks first. And you have both Beijing and Washington believing that they've got the upper hand. You hear Trump administration officials saying that China is going to have to bend because they rely on the U.S. market for exports. The U.S. is, of course, a very wealthy and massive consumer base for U.S. goods. You just heard Rebecca ticking off the numbers there, hundreds of billions of dollars in exports. But then you also have Beijing seeing the U.S., according to what experts tell me, as becoming economically weaker under the Trump administration, less predictable and more isolated from its allies. And what I'm hearing is that Beijing is not in a rush to make a deal. They are not in a rush to negotiate at this moment, especially when they have the threat of these increasingly ever higher tariffs from the Trump administration. Xi Jinping has to save face for the domestic audience at home and show this sort of strength. You know, Beijing has also been preparing for this possibility for years now. They went through that trade war during President Trump's first administration. They've been looking to diversify, but no question, Eva, this is going to cause economic pain for China. For now, they are willing to take that hit and stay strong.
Mary, the president did mention that some countries have reached out to negotiate. What's the latest on those negotiations?
The White House says the phones here have been ringing off the hook. We do know that some negotiations are now underway with Japan, the Vietnamese, for instance, as well. The question is, how long is this going to take? Trying to negotiate with so many countries, you know, the Treasury Secretary himself has said that could take months. Whether you can get that all done in 90 days is certainly an uphill battle. And remember, they aren't just negotiating over tariffs. The president has made it very clear that he sees these tariffs as a way of gaining leverage, a tool to negotiate over other matters. They have mentioned, you know, things that they want to make progress on, like an energy deal in Alaska, possibly a deal relating to TikTok. They are hoping to negotiate down other trade barriers that they feel exist with other countries. So there is a lot on the table here, and obviously these are all tailor-made deals. It's not like you're trying to negotiate one size fits all here. So this is going to take some time. And as Rebecca noted, you know, in the meantime, you have so many Americans facing uncertainty about rising costs, so many small businesses. In fact, Eva, I have to tell you, when the news broke today that the president was putting on this pause, I was actually speaking with a small business owner who owns a running shoe store selling sneakers and other workout apparel, and he was exasperated at the news. Yes, obviously, you know, welcomed the president putting in place this pause, but he said what they need most is predictability, and they simply do not have that even still.
And Mary, right now we are looking at the president sitting there in the Oval Office. He just signed some executive orders. We're monitoring to see if he's going to take any questions, and we'll keep our eye on that. Rebecca, one of the things that we are also seeing is these U.S. Treasury bonds are just selling off. So what does that tell us about where our economy is right now?
So one of the things that a lot of investors on Wall Street were focused on coming into today was the degree to which the bond market has sold off. Bonds, generally speaking, we don't talk about them, but they have a huge influence on where everything from your mortgage is to how much money banks and investment funds have access to in order to trade stocks. So as a result, we've seen this gigantic sell-off in the bond market, and you can take things away from that. For example, I've heard that there might have been hedge funds, banks that were potentially on the verge of blowing up, going out of business because of the volatility we've seen in stocks. Another big investor in our bond market are foreigners. Foreign investors invest heavily in U.S. debt. And one of the ways that foreign investors can retaliate in a trade war is to no longer purchase U.S. debt. So there's concerns about what that could mean as well. But coming into what we saw today, this big announcement from the president, that was certainly in the backdrop, and it's certainly something his Treasury Secretary had to be paying attention to.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like this volatility is going to be over anytime soon. Whit Johnson, Mary Bruce, Rebecca Jarvis, Selena Wang, thank you all so much for that analysis. Well, some Republican lawmakers are breathing a bit easier after that 90-day pause on some tariffs, but the president's trade representative facing tough questions from a House committee earlier today as the announcement was being made.
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago, sitting here, we saw you. This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
Capitol Hill correspondent Jay O'Brien is tracking the reaction on Capitol Hill. Jay, what are you hearing from lawmakers?
Yeah, there weren't just surprises in that hearing, Eva, but there were surprises across Capitol Hill from Republicans who tell me they did not know that this was coming in advance. And after the news broke, they were a little bit more candid to say that they were worried about these tariffs and they were worried about the impact they would have on their constituents. There was a closed-door Senate luncheon earlier today, and our Senate producer, Ali Pecorin, reporting that senators broke out into cheers and applause in that luncheon when the news of this pause came about. Chuck Grassley, who's a prominent Republican senator who'd introduced legislation that would rein in Trump's authority to issue these tariffs, saying that this was, quote, good news. And again, over on the House side, Republicans saying that prior to this announcement, they were concerned that about the impact this would have on their constituents. Here's what one member, Rich McCormick, told me earlier. The president just paused tariffs on all countries except for China, and he raised the tariffs on China. Did you get any clarity from the White House that that was coming, and what's your reaction?
Well, here's a cool thing, and this is the brilliance of what he's done. I was worried just like everybody else. I have constituents in my district that rely on batteries from Vietnam, cars from Germany. I was very worried about how this is going to affect their businesses, their outcome, my constituency in general. But then everybody came to the table.
Is it possible that this wasn't necessarily the plan as much as the president reacting to the panic we've seen in the markets and stuff like that?
Just the opposite.
And Eva, right now happening here in the House, Republicans are voting on a rule that would block a vote that Democrats want to bring up to try to end the national emergency that the president used to enact these tariffs. And Republicans look to be on track to be able to pass that, although it's unclear if they have the numbers. There's some consternation amongst House Republicans, but no shortage of drama up here on Capitol Hill.
And Jay O'Brien, I know you'll be keeping a track of all of that. Thank you so much. Now, for more on how these Trump tariffs will affect you, let's bring in ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous. And Alexis, we've some of the top trending questions that our viewers are asking about when it comes to these tariffs. One of the things we're seeing a lot of them search is, why did President Trump pause tariffs?
Well, Eva, that's a great question. And what he's saying publicly is he felt like people were getting, in his words, a little yippy and a little too uneasy about the situation regarding the tariffs. And so because of that, he thought a pause made sense. we don't really know his motivation. I mean, in the past few days, we've had billionaires, CEOs add their voices to the chorus of people saying these tariffs are a bad idea. We've seen Wall Street banks raising their odds for a recession, and we've seen a historic stock market sell-off. One would think all of these things may have, influenced President Trump in his decision to do this. If you listen to his Treasury Secretary earlier today, he said the White House has been overwhelmed by 75 countries coming to them and wanting to negotiate in good faith. And they said because of that, they're putting in the 90-day pause. We know that these sector-specific tariffs and the tariffs against China are an exception there. But whatever the reasons, Wall Street was very, very happy with the result today, Eva.
And that's another question. How much money has been lost in the U.S. stock market so far?
It's been incredible, an incredible move to the downside and then an incredible move to the upside. In the past 4 days, not counting today, of course, the market has lost about the S&P 500. That's the index that most people's retirement funds, savings, college accounts are tied to, lost nearly $7 trillion. Today's rally, just 1 day's worth of a big rally, we gained back nearly all of that loss.
And how much lower can the stock market dip?
That's always the question, right? And we always want to remind folks that trying to time the market, never quite a good idea. We don't know. We don't know what the catalysts might be. There are circuit breakers that the New York Stock Exchange and other exchanges around the world put in to make sure that if there is a sell-off, it is orderly, there is not panic selling. And so far, one of the bright spots, I guess, in all of this is it's really tested the stock markets around the world. This is really a technical situation now when we're talking about trading. Much of it is done, nearly all of it, done technically. And mistakes and problems and errors can happen. They didn't. And they were able to deal with a huge flow, a huge volume of orders coming in and out every day. And all of the traders I spoke to said that trading, selling, and buying was very orderly, Eva.
Alexis Christophorous, thank you so much for joining us. Well, coming up, how tariff uncertainty is impacting the housing market. Why some homeowners are rethinking their spending habits. This as home builders are bracing for price increases on supplies. That's next.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
We're in an artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines,
the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal.
Outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland. Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming.
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
Huddle up, Team GMA!
We're right here.
Oh, sorry.
We're right
I got
here.
excited.
GMA wants to know who's the best coach in your community, in your child's life, who's made such a huge difference, because we're on the lookout for.
Are you ready to find the best coaches across America?
GMA wants to know about the impact of a dedicated coach in your town, so scan this code, nominate your favorite coach right now.
Let's honor the best coaches in America.
Thank you, Coach.
Gilead doesn't need to be beaten. It needs to be broken. God has a plan for me.
Punish the wicked!
Gilead shall endure.
What's happening?
Rebellion. If we let them get away, it's over.
Rise up and fight for your freedom!
More coverage now on President Trump's 90-day pause on some tariffs, sending stocks surging on Wall Street. The president's tariff plan has also been creating serious uncertainty for homeowners and builders. ABC News' Jacqueline Lee is joining us now from Pennsylvania for more on the impact to the housing market. Jacqueline, builder confidence is at a 7-month low. What are they telling you about their next steps?
Eva, builders are saying they're reassessing where they're sourcing their materials. So some of those really big ticket items that are kind of the basics of home construction, for example, HVAC systems. When you talk about the electrical wiring that is required for really any aspect of the home, that is expected to skyrocket. But given with the tariffs, though, given that it keeps flip-flopping, these builders, they're trying to figure out how long and how many materials can we order ahead of time to beat the tariffs, and then what kind of increases could we see when the tariffs eventually go into effect. Take a listen.
With these tariffs, unfortunately, they're impacting a lot of things that are basics and fundamentals to construction. For example, your heating and cooling, your air conditioning for the house. It's disappointing for all of us when the cost of basic things in building a house are going up, when we'd rather spend time and money on the really cool fun stuff like toe kick lighting and behind the mirror stuff.
And so Greg's focus is he does not want to pass that on to the consumer. We're seeing homeowners start to pull back on spending and push those renovations that they planned on doing to later in the year. And they don't want to sell their homes. They want to stay put to see how this all shakes out. Eva.
Jacqueline Lee for us there in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Jacqueline. Coming up, as these tariffs send shockwaves across global markets, small business owners say they're feeling the impact too. We'll dig into it after the break.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We heard what appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
His news breaks live.
We hear the small arms fire around us.
We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live.
ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is.
Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live lighting up the weekends.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscar Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Now you can listen to a podcast version of 2020, available free wherever you listen. Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, jaw-dropping. The most powerful stories of our time. Nightline, on right after Kimmel and streaming on Hulu.
Okay, come on, let's go. This is a film about the friendship we share with our pets.
Yes!
I rescue cats for a living. I really do feel like we need each other.
Without them, I don't know where I would be. Love is love is love.
It was really nice to have this constant companion.
I'm sure they love me, but they can't love me more than I love them.
ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.
Reporting from West Palm Beach, Florida, covering Donald Trump's planning for a second term, I'm Jay O'Brien. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. As we continue to cover the confusion surrounding the president's tariff plan, small businesses are trying to figure out what's next. Many saying that the tariffs will leave them no choice but to raise their prices or eat the costs and take a financial hit. Joining me now is Callie Simpson, the founder of Discover Night. Thank you, Callie, so much for being with us. Tell us a little bit more about your small business. You say your products aren't made in the U.S. and they can't be. Explain that for us.
So we're known for silk pillowcases and accessories, and all of our silk is coming from China. We've explored moving production during the first trade issues, back during the first administration, and it's really not possible. So just because of the product category we play in, China is where we're sourcing all of our goods.
And kind of explain to people how these tariffs are impacting you.
really detrimental. So there's a 125% tariff on China right now, again, where we're sourcing all of our goods. That means our cost of goods have doubled. That costs us about $250,000 a month in unplanned expenses, which is a small business is impossible to weather.
And so that people understand, your company sells these products to larger retailers. Is there a way for you to pass those costs on to them?
So we've been meeting with our retailers. They're taking a pretty hard line, at least in the short term, that they're not taking price increases. They're willing to go out of stock in specific products like ours if they need to. But unfortunately, in our situation, no, it's not possible to pass them on to the customer.
So if you can't pass on that cost, I mean, are you worried that like this could mean you would lose your business?
We're going to have to reinvent our entire business strategy, in the immediate. Yes, we're very, very worried. Again, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place. We work with major manufacturers that have other customers. So, they don't really have an incentive to lose money on us. And then we work with major retailers that really don't have an incentive to take cost increases from us. So we're looking at what can we do. We're going to need to adapt very, very quickly.
What do you want the president and lawmakers to know about how these tariffs are impacting small businesses like yours?
I think it's really frustrating for small businesses when we hear be patient, because we don't have the resources to be patient even in the short term. We employ, small businesses employ a lot of people in this country, and all of our costs outside of our product costs is in people. So if we're getting these kind of cost increases in product, the only way we can offset it is with people. And that's really disappointing. Again, as a small business, we're very close with our team.
Yeah, a lot of hard decisions in the days ahead. Callie Simpson, thank you so much for being with us.
Really appreciate it, Eva.
Coming up, much more on the huge stock market rally in response to the president's 90-day pause on some tariffs, the impact on your finances, and answers to some common questions. Plus, we're tracking other news, including accused killer Brian Kohberger back in court, the high-stakes hearing in the Idaho college murders.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland.
From Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw.
Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home?
We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky,
Minneapolis,
Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
Come on now, who celebrates moms better than GMA?
Oh my gosh.
This is amazing. Now GMA's ready to do it again.
Love it. Cannot wait for that.
So is there a mom in your life who deserves the most joyous surprise of a lifetime and getting breakfast in bed on GMA? Then scan this code or go to goodmorningamerica.com to find out how to enter one incredible mom for the greatest Mother's Day surprise. Hey, at GMA, we're celebrating 50 years of celebrating moms, and this Mother's Day will be the best surprise yet.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
Wherever the story is,
we're going to take you there.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
Reporting from the fires in Ventura County, California, I'm Mola Lengi. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Can't get enough 2020 true crime? This podcast is for you. Go behind the scenes of 2020's gripping stories and get exclusive audio you won't hear anyplace else.
Join me for 2020 The After Show, wherever you get your podcasts.
New episodes drop every Monday.
We begin with breaking news. The stock market massively surging in response to President Trump's 90-day pause on some tariffs. The bell now closing on Wall Street. The Dow, S&P 500 and NASDAQ all soaring, even as the U.S.'s trade war with China intensifies. The president stepping up tariffs on that country to 125%, blaming the move on what he calls the, quote, lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets.
China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. You know, it's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China because they did retaliate.
Let's bring in ABC News' Whit Johnson live at the New York Stock Exchange, ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang in our D.C. bureau, and Brett House, a professor at Columbia Business School. Whit, let's start with you. What's the reaction you've been seeing there at the Stock Exchange today?
Well, Eva, I've been texting with some traders just a short time ago, and one reaction that I got really stood out. He called it a spiritual reprieve. What happened today. That's how he characterized the rally. A number of others called it a relief rally that we're seeing. And it's remarkable to see not only the turn of events here, but really the response, because over the past few days, the traders and analysts I've been talking to have been calling for exactly this. They've been calling for a de-escalation of the trade war. They've been calling on the administration to pause things and take a step back from the aggressive approach to tariffs. So that's why what we saw today happened. That was the relief. People were like, okay, maybe there will be a period of calmer time here as we wait and see over what happens over the next 90 days. I do want to point out some of these numbers, though, as we're digging into it and getting some analysis here. Today's 9.52% gain in the S&P, the biggest gain in that index since 2008. So that gives you a sense of just how much money was moving around today. We know that over the course of the last 5 days here since the announcement on these tariffs, the S&P also added $4.2 trillion, but it's still down about $1.8 trillion. So it signals, look, even though we gained back a lot of the ground from before the tariffs, we're still down in the markets about $2 trillion, at least when it comes to the S&P. So there is still volatility. There is still a lot of uncertainty. Another trader told me, like, yes, this is perhaps calmer times ahead in the immediate days, but there's still a cloud looming out there because China is the big X factor. We also still have those 10% baseline tariffs, the tariffs on cars and others. So while there is some encouragement here, still questions about what's going to happen next. Now, I do want to add one other thing because we've been talking about the chances of a recession, and we saw those odds increasing. Major financial institutions were increasing the odds of a recession. Goldman Sachs, for example, just earlier today had the odds of a recession at 65%. Then came the announcement from the White House about the 90-day pause, and Goldman reduced those odds down to 45%. So you can see, again, there is still some concern, some expectation of volatility in the days ahead, but relief right now on Wall Street. Eva?
All right, thanks, Whit. And Selena, this is a major about-face from the president today, announcing this pause on some of those tariffs while raising the ones on China. What else is the administration saying about this?
Well, the White House is spinning this as all part of the broader plan and the president using the art of the deal and creating leverage for the United States. But no question here, this is a major walk back, a major reversal. It was only days ago that President Trump said he was not considering a pause on these tariffs, and his administration was making clear that there was not negotiating space here. His press secretary saying this is officials about what exactly triggered this walk back. The president earlier today, just moments ago, said that he made this pause because people were, quote, getting yippy. They were getting a little bit afraid. He also referenced that the markets were not doing well, that they were, quote, glum. He also referenced that he had been watching the bond markets. But his own Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, moments before that had said that this was always the strategy. It was not part of the markets. Take a listen to what else the Treasury Secretary said today.
President Trump created maximum negotiating leverage for himself, and which tariffs went into effect 15 hours ago. The ones that we have lowered went into effect a week ago. They were announced a week ago, and we have just been overwhelmed by the response from mostly our allies, because of the large number of inbounds. We've had more than 75 countries contact us, and I imagine after today there will be more.
So Besson also saying that this pause is a result of so many countries wanting to negotiate with the White House, with the president, to try and bring those tariffs down. They are spinning this as the world now coming to the table to try and fix global trade with the Trump administration.
And Brett, we are seeing some instant relief. Witt said what investor called it a spiritual reprieve. But how confident should those investors be knowing that this pause is only temporary?
I don't think they should be confident at all. If this is a spiritual reprieve, we are still on the edge of purgatory. What we've seen in the last week is that policymaking is being made in a capricious and unpredictable manner. It's an environment in which it's almost impossible for markets to price and accurately anticipate risk.
And Brett, the U.S. Treasury bonds, we have to talk about that because we heard Selena just bring that up. The bonds have been selling off. What does that signal to you about our economy in this moment?
Well, that signals that the White House wasn't overwhelmed with responses from trading partners. It was overwhelmed by the fact that the 5-year yield and 10-year yields on U.S. Treasuries went way above their own targets. Secretary Besson had said the goal and the metric by which the success of this administration would be measured would be a reduction in those yields. And these policies produce the opposite effect.
Selena, China, you've been talking about that, has vowed to fight to the end in this trade war. The president today saying Chinese President Xi is prideful. How do we expect that they're going to respond here?
Yeah, Eva, well, you heard Witt there. He said it, that China is the big X factor here. What we are seeing playing out is a very high-risk game of chicken, essentially to see who's going to blink first. Now, I'm told by China experts that Beijing is not looking to negotiate anytime soon. They are only going to come to the table when there's a way they can do it, in a way that would save face with the Chinese people at home. Xi Jinping wants to appear strong on the global stage. And both Washington and Beijing believe that they've got the upper hand. The Trump administration believing that China is going to have to bend at some point because they rely on the gigantic U.S. consumer market with hundreds of billions of exports to the United States, while China is looking at the U.S. and seeing a weaker economy because of the Trump administration. And they also see a United States that's more isolated from its allies. So for those reasons, China is also willing to take the economic pain. And no question, it will be painful. But at the same time, Beijing has been preparing for this possibility. They did also go through the Trump trade war during his first administration. So even though publicly, yes, China is saying they're going to fight this to the bitter end, they also acknowledge it is going to be painful. Still huge questions about where everything goes from here. Still a huge impact on American businesses to have those massive tariffs going both ways with the U.S. and China.
And Selena, the president, and we heard the Treasury Secretary there mention that some of those countries are allies. Many of them have reached out to negotiate. What's the latest there?
So the administration is saying that more than 75 governments are reaching out to the Trump administration to try and negotiate these deals. They've referenced countries including South Korea, Japan, India, and Vietnam. Of course, China not on that list of countries that want to come to the table at this moment. But again, so much uncertainty here. The president is saying that he's putting pause on this for 90 days. That's really not a lot of time if you're trying to negotiate what the administration is calling, quote, bespoke deals with each of these countries. These are incredibly complex negotiations. So the question is, at the end of these 90 days, could there be another extension? Are some of countries going to get relief, but perhaps things could get worse for other countries if things go south? And the key and North Star for so many businesses is, of course, stability. They want to know what's coming ahead, but they're still not getting clarity in the short term and medium term about what the prices of their inputs are going to be.
Yeah, still a lot of uncertainty out there. Selena Wang, Brett House, Witt Johnson, thank you all for joining us. Now, for more on how these Trump tariffs will affect you, let's bring in ABC News business reporter Alexis Christophorous. And Alexis, some of the top trending questions that we've seen people asking about out here when it comes to tariff. I'm going to ask you about these first. How much money has been lost around the world in all of this.
This has been staggering. And just the past 4 days, so not including today's big historic rally to the upside, but the U.S. stock market lost nearly $7 trillion of its value. Some of the big household name stocks like Apple and Nike and Home Depot, Nvidia, they lost, a bunch of their own value. That it cost investors a lot of money because a lot of these stocks are held in people's 401ks, their mutual funds. But they rallied back today on news of this 90-day pause.
What happens if the global markets all fall on the same day?
That would not be a good situation. And what it means is that people are looking for liquidity. They're looking to get cash, right? They're looking to trade in whatever they own, stocks, bonds, commodities, the dollar. We've also seen the dollar fall quite a bit throughout all of this. So it would cause credit markets to freeze up. Our banks would start to have an issue because there would be a run on the stock market, possibly a run on banks, because what that starts to do is it starts to create panic among investors worldwide.
And panic is never good.
Panic's never good. I don't care what you're talking about.
One of the other questions people seem to be searching a lot, how much money has been lost in the U.S. stock market?
Yeah, that nearly $7 trillion number. Today, though, when you think about it, the Dow lost 4,500 points in the past 4 days. It rallied back nearly 3,000. The NASDAQ lost 13%. It has now nearly gained all of it back. It just goes to show you, especially with all the money that floods in and out of the market every day. This is technical trading. It happens very quickly, and we're trading on headlines. And there are billions, trillions of dollars at stake. But we've made our way back. Analysts I spoke to today say, don't be fooled. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be big down days to come. There are still, as we just heard from our reporters, many question marks still open out there. But at least for today, we're going to take our wins when we can get them. We rallied big.
The other question people are searching that I find to be really interesting, how much lower can the stock market dip? What's the bottom?
Right. Well, believe it or not, it's not really zero because there are circuit breakers, they call them, put in place by stock exchanges around the world, including here in the U.S., to make sure that panic selling that we're talking about doesn't happen. So it gets triggered at certain points. It stops trading for a period of time before it resumes again, just to make sure that it gives people a pause, level heads, calmer heads will prevail, hopefully, and then trading would resume.
We heard Whit say, the one investor said that we were in a spiritual reprieve. What has to happen for the markets to go up again? Because Brett was like, we're on the edge of purgatory.
Yeah, I know. All these crazy, words that we're coming up with that I think that in and of themselves can incite panic. But what was your question?
What has to happen for the markets to go back up? Because that's what we all want.
Look, the uncertainty is what the markets hate. We have been mired in uncertainty. And really, frankly, even though there's a 90-day pause, what happens after 90 days? Right? What happens with all of these negotiations? Does China still continue to have these 125% tariffs now against them? What happens to all of the sector tariffs on steel, aluminum, cars? So there's so much uncertainty out there still. I think until we start to see some real stability, longer term stability, you're not really going to see the stock market rally have legs.
All right. Alexis Christoforous, we are on the roller coaster for the foreseeable.
Strap yourself in.
Yeah, thank you. At least 124 people are reported dead in a nightclub roof collapse in the Dominican Republic, including merengue singer Ruby Perez. Now, officials say the singer's body was pulled from the rubble overnight. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says at least one U.S. citizen and several U.S. residents are among the dead. More than 155 people hospitalized with injuries. There's new video of the incident as crews are working around the clock to find survivors. ABC's Victor Oquendo has the latest, and we want to warn you, these images are hard to watch.
The devastating scenes from the Dominican Republic after a roof collapsed at a packed nightclub in Santo Domingo, killing at least 113 people and injuring more than 150. Now, investigators are looking at videos like these. This one recorded seconds before the horrific moment around 12:30 a.m. Tuesday. He's pointing at the roof, saying something fell. The singer performing on stage, also looking up. Then, the collapse. In another video, this group rushing away from the dance floor moments before the tragic accident. First responders raced to the scene to rescue any survivors. This man taken out on a stretcher alive. Drone footage putting the scope of the catastrophe on full display. Members of the performing band, including lead singer Ruby Perez, were among those killed. A local governor killed too, Nelsie Cruz, sister of former Seattle Mariners pitcher Nelson Cruz. Former Major League Baseball players Tony Blanco and World Series champion pitcher Octavio Dotel also dying in the incident. The New York Mets holding a moment of silence for their former player.
Our thanks to Victor Okendo for that report. Coming up, the man accused of killing 4 Idaho college students back in court today for a high-stakes hearing. Plus, the mayhem surrounding the new Minecraft movie. Why some theaters are banning teens from seeing it without an adult. You're streaming ABC News Live.
The news never stops.
From Tampa, we are here tonight as Hurricane Milton has just made landfall.
The surge just keeps coming up.
Right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
We're in artillery position about 2 miles away from Gaza.
And ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
We're not far from where this rally took place, so just stick with us here.
Traveling with the president to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Here in London today.
Off the coast of Gaza.
Downtown Tel Aviv, rockets or missiles coming in.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii. Some areas are still smoldering.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines,
the ruins of Rafah.
From the FBI.
Reporting from Capitol Hill.
In western Portugal.
Outside of Mexico City.
In Iceland.
Let's go.
Here in France.
The eclipse across America.
Just stunning.
Unbelievable.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere because the news never stops.
This friendship is my love story. You'll both move in with me. We never see each other.
We FaceTime every night.
I use a filter. It's barely even me.
What's going on? Do you think we're going to gloss over the fact that you're the color of an old circus peanut?
Okay, you drive me crazy. But we're best friends. Yes, it's sexless and annoying, but what long-lasting love story is it?
I came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win. Resistance is absurd.
We must stand together. We will be crushed.
You're right here, and you're ready to fight!
Welcome to the rebellion.
Andor Season 2, streaming April 22nd, only on Disney+.
Welcome back. Accused killer Bryan Kohberger back in court today for a high-stakes hearing in his upcoming murder trial. The judge hearing arguments over what evidence should be presented to the jury, including things like Kohberger's Amazon search history. Now, he stands accused of fatally stabbing 4 University of Idaho college students in November of 2022, and he's been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. A not guilty plea has been entered on his behalf, and joining me now with more on this is attorney and legal analyst Terry Austin. All right, Terry, we're going to find out several big decisions today with this judge. What are you looking to see?
I'm looking at the overall demeanor of the judge, and I think so far with the rulings he has made, he's leaning towards the prosecution. The defense is throwing every single motion at the judge as possible. For instance, for the DNA. They don't want any of the DNA in. The judge said, of course the DNA is going to come into evidence. And the judge actually said the fact that they can't conclude one way or the other, that's something the jury can determine based on the experts. So I do think at the end of the day, most of the evidence, and you mentioned the Amazon searches, the judge said there, look, if that can be corroborated, that can come in. So I think the judge is thinking carefully, and I think so far he is definitely leaning towards the prosecution.
And we're looking right now at some live video from the courtroom right now. You mentioned that DNA, Kohberger's DNA was allegedly found on a knife sheath at the murder scene. The murder weapon in this case has never been recovered, but prosecutors say Kohberger bought a knife with a sheath and a sharpener on Amazon. How important is this evidence? And how likely do you think it is that it's going to make it into this trial?
I think it's critical, and I think it will make it into the trial. The knife is everything. That sheath is everything. They have evidence from the searches that he purchased those. And what the defense is arguing is, look, Anybody could have used that computer. Anyone could have used the phone. This is not reliable evidence. You should keep it out. And what the judge is saying, this is very critical to the case. This is what covered up the murder weapon. We don't have the murder weapon, but we have this sheath. And if there's DNA evidence on there, whether it's inconclusive or not, that jury should hear that evidence.
The prosecution also wants to use testimony from the two roommates who survived the murders. One of those roommates said she saw a man with bushy eyebrows walking past her in the house. The defense wants that description banned during the trial. How do you expect the judge is going to rule on that?
That's exactly what they are arguing, that DM wasn't reliable, that the fact she described it after she heard some of the investigators talk about bushy eyebrows. Again, at this moment in time, the judge is leaning towards saying that's up to the jury to decide whether or not DM can say accurately what this person looked like and whether or not she did herself observe these eyebrows. That's a question of credibility, and I don't think the judge wants to say, I'm going to take that out. And he wants to say, that's up to that jury to decide.
One of the other questions here, the defense says Kohberger has autism spectrum disorder. So they're saying that the death penalty should be taken off the table if he was convicted. What are the odds that this factors in this case?
I don't think it's going to be taken off the table. Right now, the CDC has defined autism as a developmental disorder, not an intellectual. And so right now, under that case law of the Supreme Court, that type of information isn't relevant as to whether or not there was the mens rea to commit that crime. So I think the judge is going to allow the state to actually introduce the death penalty, to elect to say it's still on that table, just based on the Supreme Court case law right now.
All right. And our colleague, Kana Whitworth, is inside that courtroom, so we're going to have much more from her on that. And she also has a podcast about this case called The Kings Road Killings. You can listen to the series now wherever you get your podcasts. Terry, thank you so much for being with us. Coming up, the mayhem during showings of the new Minecraft movie. The 2 words prompting teens to yell, jump around, even throw popcorn when we come back.
The news never stops. We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
We appeared to be gunfire. The former president rushed off the stage.
Hurricane Helene ravaging the coastline of Florida.
It's moving really fast, screaming across the state.
And that's why ABC News Live never stops.
Taking you to the center of the story.
As news breaks live. We hear the small arms fire around us.
We're right on the border between Ukraine and Russia.
ABC News Live is there for you at the start of your day, all morning live. ABC News Live, right there, as events unfold across the day. ABC News Live, breaking down the day's top stories.
Lyle and Eric Menendez, there is new evidence in this case.
ABC News Live Prime going there, wherever the story is. Are you going to build it back up? And ABC News Live, lighting up the weekend.
With breaking news and all the latest pop headlines.
Happy Oscar Sunday.
A lot to watch for tonight.
ABC News Live.
Because the news never stops.
Now you can listen to a podcast version of This Week, available free wherever you listen.
Tomorrow morning on GMA, class is in session with Abbott Elementary's Cheryl Lee Ralph. And it will leave you
begging for more.
And then Friday, Bryce Dallas Howard live.
Oh, what a morning.
Only on
Good Morning America.
ABC's Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, life-changing. For 45 years, the most powerful stories of our time.
This is Nightline.
Wherever the story is, Nightline will take you there. Just because it's late night doesn't mean you should be in the dark. For a brighter take on the day, this is ABC's Nightline. After Kimmel, late night on ABC.
ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.
Reporting from Spartanburg, Pennsylvania, I'm Stephanie Ramos. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
A box office blockbuster, teenagers flocking to see a Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa and Jack Black. But a social media trend is leading to mayhem at some theaters. ABC News' Lara Spencer has the story.
It's the latest rallying cry for millions of moviegoers.
Chicken jockey!
Those two little words sending teenage fans of a Minecraft movie into a frenzy, resulting in screaming, popcorn throwing, and soda flying through the air. In at least one case, the police have gotten involved, escorting some of the offenders out of theaters. So what is a chicken jockey? The official definition? A child zombie who rides a chicken, of course. This morning, that craze around chicken jockeys causing one movie theater in New Jersey to take matters into its own hands, instituting a new policy. Minors will now have to have a parent or responsible adult with them if they want to watch the film. The Township Theater in Bergen County writing in a statement that a group of boys engaged in completely unacceptable behavior, including vandalism. They also received multiple complaints from other moviegoers who were trying to enjoy the film with their families.
The manager called us and said that the theater was in bad shape. He said, well, it's a terrible mess. There is lotion squirted all over the place, and there's a row of seats that have been pulled out of the floor.
Based on the 2011 video game, the film has already grossed over $163 million in its opening weekend.
Let's do this.
Making it the biggest box office opening of the year. Jason Momoa spoke about filming the scene during the promotional tour.
You remember in the movie where I'm fighting the chicken jockey, which is hilarious. Dude, the chicken's just like, buck, buck. It hits its nose. I lost it because they didn't have that in there when I was doing it.
People go to movie theaters for the communal experience, and this is part of that. I mean, I know that what we're seeing in videos can be or appear to be distracting for cinema goers, but when you look at who's in the audience, it's filled with young kids who, at this point, are going to see this film for this moment. They're going to have fun.
And it's a moment. Our thanks to Lara Spencer for that report. The news never stops. You can find us anywhere you stream live news. And if you're on the go, we're on the ABC News app and abcnews.com. I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. There's more news up next. Stay with us.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation.